For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Israel's pulled back its support of the ceasefire agreement with Hamas and introduced a new proposal with support of the Trump administration. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Sunday also said they're blocking aid to Gaza.
Israel has decided to stop letting goods and supplies into Gaza, something we've done for the past 42 days. We've done that because Hamas steals the supplies and prevents the people of Gaza from getting them. It uses these supplies to finance its terror machine, which is aimed directly at Israel and our civilians, and this we cannot accept. We will take further steps if Hamas continues to hold our hostages. And throughout this, Israel knows that America and President Trump have our back.
The United Nations and other humanitarian aid providers are criticizing the decision, calling it a violation of international law. Doctors Without Borders said Israel's decision is outrageous and will have devastating consequences. Humanitarian aid should never be used as a tool of war, it said. The International Criminal Court has said there was reason to believe Israel had used starvation as a method of war when it issued an arrest warrant for Netanyahu last year over the war in Gaza. Netanyahu's comments come a day after phase one of the ceasefire with Hamas expired. Netanyahu says his new plan would see release of half of hostages, then release of remaining hostages during a 50-day ceasefire where conditions for a permanent end to the war would then be discussed. He called it the Steve Witkoff plan, named after the Trump administration's Mideast envoy. This says the Trump administration has approved a new $3 billion weapons package for Israel, including nearly $2.7 billion worth of bombs and weapons guidance kits, along with $295 million in bulldozers. The Trump administration said an emergency exists that requires the immediate sale, allowing it to bypass Congress. The weapons won't be delivered until 2026 or 2027. Last week, independent Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders announced action to block 4 other arms sales to Israel, totaling more than $8 billion in U.S. weaponry, including thousands of small diameter and 500-pound bombs and 3,000 air-to-ground missiles. Sanders said it would be unconscionable to provide more of the bombs and weapons Israel has used to kill so many civilians and make life unlivable in Gaza. A jury has found a 73-year-old Illinois landlord guilty in a hate crime attack that killed a Palestinian-American child and injured his mother. Joseph Suba faced murder, attempted murder, and hate crime charges in the death of Wadi Al-Fayumi and the wounding of his mother, Hanan Shaheen, days after Hamas's attack in Israel that sparked the latest war. Authorities say Zuba targeted them because of their Islamic faith, and as a response to the war, he had pled not guilty. Ahmed Rehab is executive director of the civil rights group CARE, Council on American Islamic Relations.
All of us who are parents, who are Arab, who are Palestinian, happen to be Egyptian American, who are Muslim, we all saw our children die in Wadi Al-Fayumi. Because this could have been any one of our boys, any one of our girls. It just so happened that it was Wadi Al-Fayumi. But when he was targeted, all of our children were targeted. Every Muslim was targeted when he yelled, "All Muslims must die."
The mother was stabbed more than a dozen times. Suba stabbed the boy 26 times. He was found naked with a knife still in his side. European leaders held an emergency summit Sunday after President Donald Trump berated Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, then kicked him out of the White House Friday. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer met with his European counterparts, including Ukraine's president, and announced outlines of a new plan to end Russia's war.
The UK is prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air. Together with others, Europe must do the heavy lifting. But to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong US backing.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Thousands protested Vice President J.D. Vance in Vermont as he and his family were traveling for a ski trip this weekend. Protesters lined up to greet him along his route, many holding signs with messages like "J.D. is a traitor, go ski in Russia." Vance, "We thought Elon was VP," and "Trump serves Putin." President Donald Trump's federal overhaul continues with more workforce reductions, weighing a 50% reduction at the Social Security Administration. Acting SSA Commissioner Leland Dudek is pursuing a restructuring of the agency that could include layoffs and calls for voluntary early retirements. An email the American Prospect received gives employees until March 14th to decide among a number of options, including resignation or early retirement. The publication reports the administration would not confirm any reductions in its workforce except for the closure of 2 small internal offices it announced last week. I'm Christina Onnested, reporting for Pacifica Radio.